Welcome to the latest Around the Block podcast, brought to you by Crystalyx brand supplements. Cow-calf producers are faced with calf marketing decisions that focus on the best ways to maximize profit potential. Tim Clark is a nutritionist for Ridley Block Operations, the makers of Crystalyx. So Tim, making sound calf marketing decisions isn't a one-size-fits-all answer, is it?
No, it's not. It really varies on each operation and the economic situation with cattle pricing.
What are some of the economics of the market that can have an effect on that?
Currently, just with some lower calf prices compared to the last couple of years, total revenue per calf will be less this year unless producers figure out how to either get larger calves by holding on to them, backgrounding them for a while, and then selling them larger at a later date. And then also comes into play the seasonality of the market. Most of our spring-born calves are weaned in that October-November time frame, and high percentages are sold at that time, but that's also the lowest price point of the year per pound.
So what's going to be necessary to hold calves to a later date and market them at a heavier weight and increase the income per calf?
Biggest obstacle is managing the weaning stress and getting animals weaned correctly and onto a dry diet. It's a stressful time for the calves just because they're making several changes all at once, not only nutritionally being weaned and going off of milk onto dry feed, but it's a grouping change as well. They're being separated from their mother, so there's a lot of stresses that are compounded right at that time. Just getting through that 30 to 45-day period right after weaning is the first critical step, and that's often one reason people will sell right at weaning, and they don't have to manage that part of the operation. So,
are there facility limitations too that can have an effect?
It can. That can be a big part of it. Having separate pens for the calves or adequate additional pasture that you can wean the animals onto. And some producers may lack facilities or easily working the cattle as far as getting the vaccinations in and treating sick animals.
And then it's a matter of feedstuffs that are available. And what's available?
First and foremost, you got to make sure that you have enough forage on hand to get through the fall and winter feeding season for the cows. Outside of the drought area, this year most producers should be in pretty good shape as far as having available feedstuffs on farm or being able to source it at a reasonable price. So
there are available feedstuffs that are economical for the calves?
Yes, the backgrounding diets can be very high forage diets. You're really not placing them on a feedlot type diet. So you can utilize hay, some silage, and minimize the amount of grain that you would need to feed, which can make for a very low-cost diet.
Are there some Crystalyx formulas that will help in managing the weaning stress?
We have several of our stress-fighting formulas. They're more nutrient-dense than our typical protein formulas that are designed for the cows. Those formulas typically have 3/4 to a pound intake is what we formulate them for, and it's a mineral profile that's specific for a mature animal. Calves at weaning will consume 2 to 4 ounces of these products, so the stress blocks have to be much more nutrient-dense, more highly fortified to make sure that we're getting the nutrition package in a smaller intake.
Are there specific formulas then?
Brigade has been one of the main stress-fighting formulas that we have that utilizes the bioplexes, the chelated organic trace minerals, the selenium yeast, and it's quite a bit higher as far as concentration in both the trace minerals and vitamins to address the lower intake of the calves. Our newest version of our stress-fighting formulas would be the Battalion. In addition to the nutrient profile of the Brigade, it's got the additions of chromium, which helps improve energy metabolism and feed intake, and Actogen, which is a yeast cell wall product that supports gut health.
Is there a time frame that they'll be up and consuming the right amounts of these rations in the bunks?
Typically, it's going to take 2 to 4 weeks for a very high percentage of animals in a group to be hitting target intakes for the rations that are formulated for them. So that's the time frame that we would feed the stress-fighting formulas. You're looking at a 30 to 45-day period most time to get calves through this stress period where we would utilize the stress-fighting formulas. Then after that, the animals could go on to a forage-based diet and utilizing one of our protein-type formulas.
There's some obvious benefits, I would think, for improved digestibility by increasing available forage.
Crystalyx products, are based off of molasses, so we're delivering very rumen-friendly carbohydrates and protein to stimulate rumen fermentation and enhance the digestibility of the forage. So we can do a diet that's highly based on forage, but yet improve the digestibility with the Crystalyx products that we're delivering. The barrel is the feeding system, so it doesn't require a lot of extra equipment that cow-calf producer may not have.
You gave an example, I think, of a customer that sold hay.
Yeah, that was an interesting sales call. Actually ran a hay auction. You always get some busted and split bales or some hay that's not of the quality that is bringing the price you would think. So to utilize his excess hay, he had bought some feeder cattle and had started out feeding them a grain diet to go with it, but that ended up being time-consuming and a bit expensive, and he wasn't happy with performance. Convinced the individual to give the Crystalyx products a try. It saved him a lot of time and just put the barrels out. And it actually improved the digestibility of the forage, and the hay actually went farther, and the animals performed better.
You mentioned he only had 2 complaints about it.
Yep, that the hay lasted longer, and the cattle finished quicker than they thought they would. So,
so not too bad. Not too bad for complaints.
Not too bad. Yeah, and just to clarify, this isn't really a feedlot finishing type diet. Mm-hmm. These are high forage type diets to economically add another 150, 200 pounds to these animals. And as long as we can add pounds for less cost than what the current market is for animals, it's a win-win.
Absolutely. So what's the bottom line here as far as there are opportunities for increasing income when you're making your calf marketing decisions?
You don't have to be forced to sell right at weaning time when you can economically get the calves heavier, especially if you've got the available feedstuffs. And the Crystalyx products provide a very easy, convenient feeding system that will work for you. The main thing would be using the Crystalyx products as tools to help manage the weaning stress. There's other management things that producers can do. Some low-stress weaning methods, whether it be fence line weaning or using the weaning babs, which are actually just plastic nose rings that keep the calves from nursing while they're still with their mother. They can actually be weaned in 4 or 5 days on pasture with their mother. It takes a little bit more effort on the producer's part, but splitting up some of the management things that we do with the calves, dehorning, castrating, vaccinating, some of those items can be done a few weeks prior to weaning. That just helps minimize the total stress that the animals are all under compared to doing everything at once right at weaning time.
That's it for this Around the Block podcast, brought to you by Crystalyx brand supplements, an easy way to provide affordable protein, trace minerals, vitamins, and phosphorus in a low-moisture supplement block that's available 24/7. Learn more about all that Crystalyx has to offer by going to www.crystalyx.com. It all adds up to results by the barrel.